You don't need more time. You need better boundaries. You need a standard for what gets your energy and what doesn't. That standard must be built on what fuels your purpose, what aligns with your goals, what serves your future. Anything that distracts from that, delays that, or drains you from pursuing that must be questioned. Because every time you give your energy away to something small, you rob yourself of the chance to build something great. You give away your focus, and with it your progress. It doesn't matter how capable you are if you're exhausted from fighting the wrong battles. Every request, every notification, every unexpected demand is a withdrawal from your mental bank. If you don't protect it, you'll end up bankrupt, burned out, scattered, and wondering where your days went. Saying no is not rude, it's not selfish, it's strategic. It's a declaration that your life has a direction and not everything fits into it. You're not here to please everyone. You're not here to react to everything. You're here to build something meaningful. That takes clarity. That takes intention. That takes protecting your resources like they're sacred. And they are. Your energy is sacred. It powers your dreams, your relationships, your growth. Every time you waste it on drama, distraction, or unnecessary stress, you lose a piece of your potential. You lose the sharpness that allows you to execute, the calm that allows you to think clearly, the drive that pushes you to keep going. You can't pour into your future if you're constantly pouring yourself out on things that don't matter. The more you protect your energy, the more powerful you become. Because when you stop giving your time to the trivial, you finally have room for the transformational. Not everything deserves your attention. Learn to say no without guilt. Every day you're faced with choices that pull at your time, your focus, your energy. Some of them are urgent. Some of them are loud. Some of them come from people you care about, people who expect your constant availability, your presence, your compliance. But just because something asks for your attention doesn't mean it deserves it. Just because someone expects your yes doesn't mean you owe it. If you don't learn how to say no with confidence and clarity, the world will consume your life piece by piece until nothing remains for what truly matters to you. Saying no isn't rejection, it's protection. It's drawing a boundary around what's sacred to you, your time, your peace, your progress. When you say no to something that doesn't align with your purpose, you're saying yes to what does. You're preserving your ability to move forward, to grow, to create. You're giving yourself permission to be focused, present, and intentional. And that kind of discipline is not selfish, it's powerful. Most people say yes because they're afraid of disappointing others. They want to be liked. They fear conflict. But in pleasing others, they lose themselves. They dilute their energy across 100 commitments, none of which are truly fulfilling. They become overextended, overwhelmed, and eventually resentful. The guilt of saying no may sting for a moment, but the regret of saying yes to the wrong things lasts much longer. That regret grows in silence, in resentment. In the quiet moments when you realize you've been living according to someone else's priorities. When you say no, you are not being difficult, you are being deliberate. You are choosing to honor your vision over someone else's expectations. You are recognizing that your attention is a limited resource, and not everyone has earned the right to access it. Not every cause, every invite, every opinion, or every crisis needs your involvement. You are not required to explain yourself. Your clarity is your reason. Your peace is your priority. And your growth depends on your ability to focus on what feeds your spirit instead of what drains it. Learning to say no means learning to trust yourself. It means knowing what you want and refusing to compromise it for short-term comfort or external approval. It means accepting that not everyone will understand your path and being okay with that. Because the truth is, the more focused and aligned you become, the less you will relate to distractions. You will start to see them not as opportunities missed, but as weights avoided. You will stop feeling guilty for prioritizing your mission over momentary obligations. And that shift, that internal strength, will give you the clarity and conviction to walk your own path without apology. Define what truly matters to you, not what others expect from you. Most people spend their lives following scripts they didn't write. They chase goals handed to them by parents, teachers, friends, or society. Titles, achievements, lifestyles that look impressive from the outside but feel empty on the inside. They do things because it's what they're supposed to do. They pursue approval, not fulfillment. They let the noise around them drown out the voice within them. And over time, they forget what they even wanted in the first place. But the truth is, no one else can define your purpose. No one else can tell you what gives your life meaning. That's your responsibility and your freedom. To know what really matters to you, you have to get still. You have to strip away the expectations, the comparisons, the distractions. You have to ask yourself hard questions. What do I truly value? What kind of life do I want to build? What am I willing to fight for, to sacrifice for, to commit to when it's no longer exciting or easy? The answers won't come from outside. They come from reflection, from honesty, from the willingness to admit that some of the things you've been chasing don't belong to you. They're borrowed dreams, and it's time to return them. What matters to you might not make sense to others. It might be unconventional. It might be quiet or messy or wildly ambitious. That doesn't matter. What matters is that it's yours, that it wakes something up in you, that it feels right even when it doesn't look right to the rest of the world. Because once you know what's real for you, what you care about deep in your bones, you stop living reactively. You stop being pulled in 1,000 directions. You start moving with intention. And that kind of clarity is rare, but it's powerful. Don't confuse success with significance. Just because something is praised doesn't mean it's valuable to you. Just because someone else wants it doesn't mean it should be your goal. If you're not careful, you'll spend years climbing a ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. You'll win battles that don't matter. You'll collect trophies that leave you feeling hollow. But when you define what matters on your own terms, you become unstoppable. Not because you're better, but because you're aligned. Alignment creates momentum. When your actions match your values, when your effort is fueled by passion, you move differently. You don't need motivation. You have meaning. You don't fear judgment. You have direction. And you don't waste time chasing things that don't feed your soul. You begin to live with depth, with presence, with purpose. You begin to build a life that reflects who you really are, not who the world told you to be. That's when everything changes. Not all at once, but piece by piece as you reclaim your focus and commit to what truly matters, no matter how quietly it begins or how long it takes. Focus is about alignment, not just productivity or busyness. In a world that glorifies hustle and celebrates being constantly busy, it's easy to mistake movement for progress. People rush from task to task, crossing off to-do lists, juggling responsibilities, staying active every waking hour. And yet, at the end of the day, they feel unfulfilled, exhausted, and unsure of what they actually accomplish. That's because being busy doesn't mean you're effective. Productivity without purpose is just motion without meaning. Real focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most with intention and clarity. Alignment is when your actions match your values, when the things you spend your time on are connected to the life you want to create. It's when the external effort you put out reflects the internal vision you carry. That kind of focus isn't frantic. It's powerful, it's grounded, it brings peace, even in the middle of pressure. It simplifies decisions. It removes the need for constant validation because you're not chasing someone else's success, you're honoring your own path. Most people are distracted not because they lack discipline, but because they lack direction. When you don't know what you're aiming for, everything looks like a target. You say yes to too many things, you spread yourself thin, you chase every opportunity thinking it might be the one, But without alignment, your energy is scattered. You end up drained, not because you're incapable, but because you're not rooted in anything real. You're moving fast, but not moving forward. Alignment doesn't mean everything will be easy. In fact, it often means making harder choices, saying no to good things to make room for the right things, letting go of habits, people, or patterns that don't serve where you're headed. It requires courage because it will separate you. Not everyone will understand why you don't chase what they chase. Not everyone will support your priorities. But focus isn't about being understood, it's about being true. It's about showing up every day and putting your energy where it counted. When your focus is aligned, your actions carry more weight. Small steps compound. Progress feels meaningful. The noise fades because you're listening to your own inner direction. You're not just staying busy to avoid discomfort or fill the silence. You're building something that matters to you. And that kind of life, built on alignment, not anxiety, is the kind that leaves a legacy. Not through how much you did, but through how deeply and intentionally you lived. Distractions can come disguised as opportunities. Stay alert. Not everything that looks like progress is progress. Sometimes the things that pull you off course wear the mask of potential, praise, or possibility. They show up as new projects, invitations, partnerships, or detours that seem exciting in the moment. But if you're not clear on your direction, these distractions will drain your focus and slow your growth. One of the greatest challenges of staying focused isn't avoiding obvious time wasters. It's learning to say no to the things that look good but don't truly serve your purpose. Every opportunity carries a cost. The cost is time, energy, attention, and often alignment. If you say yes to everything that sounds impressive or feels urgent, you'll quickly find yourself overloaded, off track, and wondering how you ended up so far from what you were building. That's why clarity is essential. When you know what really matters, you develop the ability to evaluate every offer, request, or idea through a filter. Does it move you forward? Does it fit your mission? Does it align with your values? If the answer is no, then it's not an opportunity. It's a distraction. Distractions often appeal to the ego. They flatter you, stroke your ambition, make you feel important or needed. But not all visibility is valuable. Not all recognition is worth your energy. Some opportunities are really just shiny detours designed to feed your desire for quick results or instant validation. But long-term success is built on consistency, not convenience. If you keep shifting directions every time something new and exciting comes along, you'll never build depth. You'll always be starting but never finishing. You'll always be busy but never fulfilled. To stay focused, you need discipline. Not just the discipline to work hard, but the discipline to be selective. You need the strength to turn down things that others might celebrate because you know they're not right for you. This means trusting your path even when it feels slow. It means being okay with missing out on things that aren't part of your mission. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing less of what doesn't matter so you can do more of what does. The world will never stop offering you distractions. The more you grow, the more opportunities will come your way. That's not the problem. The problem is when you let those opportunities make decisions for you. Stay grounded. Stay intentional. You don't need to chase every open door, just the ones that lead where you truly want to go. That's how you protect your focus. That's how you make progress that actually counts. Because in the end, the real danger isn't failure, it's distraction disguised as success. When you learn to see through the illusion and stay locked in on what matters, you rise above the noise and build something that lasts. People may not understand your priorities, and that's okay. The moment you decide to live with focus and intention, you will become unfamiliar to those who are used to your availability, your agreement, your willingness to bend. When you start saying no to what no longer aligns, when you begin protecting your energy, And when you choose to pursue something that truly matters to you, people will notice. And not everyone will applaud. Some will question you, some will pressure you, some will misinterpret your distance or your silence as arrogance, coldness, or selfishness. But that's the price of clarity. That's the cost of alignment. You are not responsible for managing other people's reactions to your growth. You're not here to convince anyone to understand your path. The deeper you go into your purpose, the more selective you become with your time, the more you choose intention over impulse, the more others may feel left behind, challenged, or confused. Let them. You are not abandoning anyone, you are choosing yourself. And choosing yourself doesn't mean you love others less. It means you've learned to love your mission enough to protect it. Not everyone is meant to walk every step of your journey with you. Some relationships are built on shared distractions, shared complaints, or shared comfort zones. When you begin to break out of that, it disrupts the dynamic. People may try to pull you back, not because they're malicious, but because your growth challenges their comfort. They may say you've changed, and you have. That's the point. Growth demands transformation. It requires letting go of the version of you that lives for the approval of others and stepping into the version that lives for the fulfillment of your purpose. If you spend your life explaining your priorities, justifying your focus, or apologizing for the ways you've chosen to protect your energy, you'll stay stuck in a cycle of external validation, and that cycle is exhausting. You don't owe anyone a breakdown of your dreams. You don't have to dilute your passion to make others comfortable. You don't have to minimize your ambition to maintain relationships that no longer fit your direction. Living with focus will cost you something. It might cost you comfort. It might cost you popularity. It might cost you being the person everyone leans on. But what you gain in clarity, peace, and purpose is worth far more than the approval of people who were never meant to define your path. The sooner you accept that not everyone will understand, the freer you become. Free to choose what matters to you. Free to pursue your goals without guilt. Free to live in alignment without permission. Because at the end of your life, it won't be their opinions that shape your legacy. It will be your decisions. And when those decisions are based on what truly matters to you, not what others expect, you step into a life of authenticity, power, and purpose that no one else can give you and no one else can take away. True focus takes courage, especially when results are delayed. It's easy to be focused when everything is going right, when the path is clear, when the momentum is building. But real focus is tested in the quiet moments, the long stretches of effort without applause, when progress feels invisible and doubt creeps in. That's when most people give up, not because they're weak, but because we've been conditioned to expect instant results. In a world of quick fixes and overnight success stories, patience feels unnatural. But the truth is, anything meaningful takes time, and staying focused during that time requires a strength that few are willing to develop. Focus isn't just about attention, it's about belief. The belief that what you're working on matters. The belief that your efforts, even if unseen, are building something real. The belief that staying consistent is more powerful than being impressive for a moment. And that belief is challenged most when nothing seems to be happening. When the numbers aren't growing, when no one is noticing, when the results don't match the effort, that's when it's tempting to quit or pivot or chase something shinier. But courage means staying the course even when the path is quiet. This kind of focus requires vision. You have to be able to see what hasn't manifested yet. You have to trust the process, even when it feels slow, even when others question your pace. People might ask why you're still trying. They may not see the value in your persistence. That's okay. Your vision wasn't given to them. It was given to you, and your ability to stay focused despite the silence, despite the waiting, is what will separate you. Because most quit too soon. Most abandon the mission when the results don't come fast enough. But those who endure, who keep showing up, who keep refining their craft, building their dream, honoring their priorities, those are the ones who create something lasting. Courageous focus means turning down the noise. It means refusing to compare your timeline to someone else's highlight reel. It means anchoring yourself in your why, not in the feedback or the metrics. It's about resilience, about showing up again and again with integrity, even when it's inconvenient. It's understanding that you're not here to entertain or impress. You're here to grow, to build, to become. And that growth often happens underground, unseen, during seasons of discipline that most people won't notice or celebrate. The temptation to chase shortcuts will always be there. The temptation to give in to distraction, to abandon the process when it becomes uncomfortable or uncertain, that temptation is real. But when you choose to stay focused, you reclaim your power. You prove to yourself that your commitment isn't conditional, that you don't need immediate results to remain faithful to the vision, that you are willing to keep showing up for what matters, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Because even in the silence, even in the slow progress, your focus is building something that delay cannot destroy. Your energy is limited. Invest it in what builds, not what drains. Every single day you wake up with a finite amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy. How you spend it determines what grows in your life. Too often people waste their most powerful energy on things that don't matter. Arguing with critics, obsessing over outcomes they can't control, worrying about the opinions of others, or chasing validation in places that only offer emptiness in return. Meanwhile, the things that could truly move their lives forward, the goals, the relationships, the inner growth, are left with whatever scraps remain. When you begin to understand that your energy is your currency, everything changes. You start becoming intentional about where you give your attention, who you allow access to your emotions, and what environments you put yourself in. You start making different decisions, not based on fear or habit, but based on impact. You stop wasting time on things that drain your spirit. You stop overcommitting, overexplaining, and overthinking. You start conserving your energy for what actually fuels your mission, your peace, your progress. Some people and situations are like open tabs in your mind, constantly running in the background, consuming your focus. You can't always cut them out immediately, but you can start by recognizing the toll they take. You can begin setting boundaries, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. You can learn to walk away from arguments that serve no purpose. You can train yourself to let go of overanalyzing things that have already passed. You can give yourself permission to move differently, not faster, but more intentionally. Building a life of purpose isn't about being constantly on the go. It's about being constantly aligned. And alignment requires energy. It requires clarity, discipline, and emotional presence. When your energy is scattered, you operate from survival, not creation. You react instead of respond. You rush through your days without pausing to ask, does this serve me? But when you protect your energy, when you focus it like a beam instead of letting it diffuse like a fog, you become powerful. Get more done with less effort because your energy is no longer divided. You begin to create flow, not friction. This isn't about becoming rigid or cold. It's about becoming clear. It's about knowing what builds you and choosing that over and over, even when it's not the easiest path. It's about recognizing that burnout doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from doing too much of what doesn't matter. You weren't meant to feel depleted all the time. You weren't meant to give your best to people and things that give you nothing in return. You were meant to build something meaningful, and that requires fuel. Protecting your energy is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's the foundation of your focus, your clarity, and your growth. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to respond to every voice that demands your attention. You don't have to fix everything or everyone. What you do have to do is choose wisely, act deliberately, and give yourself the space to recharge so you can continue to build the life that truly